Hey guys, welcome to That Game Show, the show that talks about all the stuff in the nerd world and all the stuff in between. Murph,
That's great timing. Keep going. Keep going.
I'm your host, Chase Bunker. I wanted to keep a straight face, but I feel like people would think I'm actually just deaf and not paying attention to it. I'm your host, Chase Bunker. We got lots of stuff to talk about on the show. We have my shoutcasting event. We have Murph had a little game jam. But first, let's talk to our panel. He is the half-Asian sensation. It's Curtis Coe.
Hello, everyone.
One name to rule them all is Murph Murphy.
How's it going, guys?
And player 4, it's Daniel Clegg.
Hi, friends.
Thank you guys very much for joining us, whether you're watching us on YouTube or watching us live on our Twitch stream at twitch.tv/KBHSpike, or just listening to us via podcast. Thank you for making us a part of your day. Like I said, we got a bunch of stuff to talk about, including shoutcasting, new Hearthstone, Murph's indie game. But first, I want to say, we talked about it for a little bit. This is, in fact, Curtis's last show. So I'm going to say this, and when you guys get your own final episode, I will give you a heartfelt message as well. If you've listened to the podcast, you've heard that Curtis and I have been friends for borderline 25 years, close to that. He's been very supportive of every project that I've done, and I've always tried to get him involved with it, whether it was building a battle bot, making a game, the original League of Legends podcast. He's been able to do that, and what's even more impressive is that I think it's the number one fear in America is that he has a crippling fear of public speaking. And I wouldn't know what that's like, but if it's anything like me holding a spider, like that's horrible. So not to mention that he's
just like that.
Yeah, and so besides the fact that he's done that for 55 episodes and 2 panels, maybe 3. I'll still see how much I can bribe him to go to the 3rd one. Maybe. So I want to say it's been a pleasure, my friend, and you can always come back anytime. I know you got bigger and better projects to do, but as always, I appreciate you for coming on. And so, of course, with someone who has a big fear of public speaking, I'm going to put a big-ass spotlight on you.
Sweet.
All right, so we had lots to talk about. Let's start off with my shoutcasting event. That oh hey, cool. Speaking of which, I just had my people plug me in. I just had to talk to my rep. I got into the Rocket League shoutcasting event for UCF's gaming night, and as if you saw on Twitter and if you saw on Facebook, what's up?
So, Chase, I'm going to step in here as the audience surrogate. What is shoutcasting?
Shoutcasting is essentially the video game version of the sports play-by-play guy. Like, I'm the guy that tells you what's going on, what's happening, who's on the 50-yard line, who's going to pass it to the other guy, etc., etc., except in video game form.
Would you say you're the John Madden of esports?
I did bring up, like, I had a few John Madden moments. Like, where I said, the best team that gets the team that gets the best shots gets into the goal will win the game. And I just like,
what?
Oh man,
is that how that works?
Yeah, and so I had a few of those moments where I was just like, ugh. The videos will be up soon. I just gave them to my guy. They're going to be uploading onto the Gaming Nights website. But if you paid attention on Twitter and on Facebook, you would see that a lot of things changed. It was supposed to go on at 2 o'clock. Apparently, UCF Student Union had essentially daisy-chained their way with their electricity to where it's plug into the wall, surge protector into the wall, surge protector plugged into that surge protector, and it kept continuing. Oh, yeah. And so
that'll work.
Yeah, and so Gaming Nights, they were like, this isn't going to work. And they said I could put them on blast because I'm not affiliated with Gaming Nights at all. They invited me at least, and so I can put UCF on blast all I want. And they said it's not going to work, and UCF's like, no, it's fine. Power goes out, like sections of power.
Engineering school.
Yeah, and I actually heard that we're like one of the worst engineering schools out there. Actually, I've heard that. Granted, even though Harris has a building there.
Yeah.
So that goes out, and then they don't open up the servers for internet, and so a lot of people can't connect to the internet. So what was supposed to start at 2:00 ends up starting at 5:30. So
Oh my God. Wow.
between that time, I can't play video games because I got to be ready for all this. So my
Right,
girlfriend's
sure.
there. She managed to beat all the raids in that meantime. So and Hearthstone. So she's getting her game time in. I'm not. And I felt bad because eventually they said if you're not here for a tournament, you have to shut off your rig or leave. And it's like, ooh, like I know that like it went from a 300 plus crowd to about 150 plus. And it's like, ooh, that's unfortunate. Like, so I felt bad for them in that aspect. But then the other big change, if you went onto twitch.tv/KBHSpike, you saw nothing because it was eventually going to go to gaming nights. And I was not, that was my one issue with that. But everything else went smoothly. I accidentally made some inappropriate references. And you'll see.
Accidentally.
There was a guy, okay, I'm going to give you one. And I didn't catch this. My girlfriend did when she said when she found this out. There was a character named One Night Stand, but night with a K. And I apparently said, and I quote, "One Night Stand is taking advantage of his opportunity and slips it in."
Oh.
And so it's
Okay.
like, ooh, that's gonna be that's
Well,
harsh.
with a name like that, he's almost asking
Yeah.
for comments, right?
Well, then there was
just as an overarching comment, they had technical issues similar to this at the World Championships at BlizzCon.
Yeah.
So this is a consistent thing at any sort of esports tournament or gathering where there's always technical hurdles to get over, right?
Yeah.
It's just interesting to see the different versions of it that crop up, and a lot of them. I guess I'm backing up to a more general concept here. There are a lot of companies now that just specialize in setting up these sort of esports broadcast events where they'll come in and make sure your internet's going to support it, your streaming capacity is there, the power isn't just daisy chained power strips, right?
That was the thing that baffled me, was the fact that like you somehow like you've had LANs before, but for some reason you think that like daisy chaining all these things. Granted, they could be lying to me. Like I will give them the benefit of the doubt. Like I could be being hornswoggled and saying like, oh, but they messed it up. But like, man, the president, like the Gaming Night's president, just put them on blast. Like, oof. It's one thing if I do it, you do it. Ooh, let's not be surprised if you get put in a smaller room next time.
Well, I mean, but that's a pretty big oversight, in my opinion. Some of those things are very simplistic, common sense type deals from a tech support. Yeah, that's pretty. I'm just gonna be mean here. Pretty stupid. The basic of it is you don't want to overload, electrical circuits, right?
Yeah.
It's a pretty common thing. You put it on multiple things so you have multiple sources of power. I'm sorry, that's pretty dumb.
Yeah. Internet, I'm not really, I guess the proper term is I'm not fluent with like internet lingo and internet jargon, but unless it's like, LEET, IDK, all that stuff. But like the servers and just like not getting just not getting like enough people in on an Ethernet, like I feel like that's a little bit, like, is UCF able to fix that part too?
Well, here's the question is, did you need access to the actual internet, or was it all running on the LAN? So that's the question. If all of it was running on offline or on a local network, it would be a completely different story. But if all of it needs to connect to the network, it's a combination of the connection equipment and what they're using for the overarching system. You might be overloading one specific area where it cannot handle that kind of load.
Okay.
So,
all right. So,
Yeah.
I'll let you.
That's a super simplistic.
Yeah.
But I mean, also, university internet is just notoriously bad. Just
I disagree. It's actually notoriously good normally.
Like it should be good. Like my
I think
upload speed was incredible.
Mm-hmm. I think I've definitely seen places where there's like the actual IT people who know that like people want to use consoles and people want to game, And then there's some people, like university I've heard, like, oh, we just block all the Steam IPs because it eats up so much, like, whatever.
When I was in school, all of the Blizzard download
Oh,
IPs were blocked, so you couldn't update, World of Warcraft or StarCraft or whatever. Couldn't
Right.
do it. Had to find.
So what did you
download
do?
torrents
Did you have to like go
from
to Starbucks
other
or something
websites.
to update?
No, you just had to find alternate websites rather than the official streams.
Wow. Okay. Murph, you had a game jam because you couldn't say hi to me.
Yes.
What game did you make, and
Oh,
like
yeah,
how was
no,
it
I'm
in
sorry.
general?
So before I start, this is the Global Game Jam, and I want to make a big shout out to Kunal Patel, Jack Hinkle, Dr. Peter Smith, and Nicole Pinn, who basically organized this thing and made it possible so that us and maybe probably 100 other people could make a game in Orlando. And also shout out to Gods and Monsters, who provided the venue, which is, I guess, a card/gaming store in the Arlington Square Mall.
Mm-hmm. Shout out
That's
to
big,
Gaming
it's
Nights,
big,
so I'm
it's
not a
cool.
horrible person.
Yeah, but anyway, so yes, so for those of you who don't know, a game jam is where you have 48 hours or some preset amount of time to make a game. And I went with my wife and a couple friends, and we cranked out Little Witch MD, which
That sounds awesome.
yeah, well, it's very, very, very cute. And it's kind of this memory game where you're a tiny witch who's a doctor, but not a witch doctor. She went to medical school, damn it. And you basically, monsters come to you hurt, and you cast a spell to cure them. And you kind of have to memorize the spells that you use to cure the monsters, so you have to use the same spell consistently. And it's kind of this memory game, and we did it. There was a one of the sponsors of the jam was I think it's called Seco, which was the basically the oh gosh, I'm a terrible person. Cerebral palsy charity, and they wanted you to make a game that someone who had cerebral palsy could play. And one of the things in that is you things that they can take their time, preferably with one hand with very forgiving controls. So that was one of our goals as well. So this is not a hardcore game. This is not a game that I would play myself, but we had a lot of fun making it. I think, and anyone who ever wants to make a game, I would definitely seek out a game jam because you can do it there.
So, can I ask a question in regards to Game Jam? How experienced do you need to be in order to participate in a Game Jam?
So you need to know how to like turn on a computer. But there were definitely people who were like, we never made a game before, and we wanted to learn, and so we came and we made something.
Okay,
And
cool.
and I mean, there were industry veterans as well, like people who had been working at like EA, or were currently working at EA, like people who did it for a living, and like even people who didn't know how to do like computers. Who some of the most requested people were for that at that game jam were the people who could write music.
That's interesting.
Because like there was probably like maybe 3 or 4 people in the entire thing who could carry a tune, and all the games needed music, so they were very, very busy.
In demand, sure.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And again, after that, artists, because
Yep.
people
Need assets.
you need assets, and assets are time consuming, and not everyone can draw. I can't draw, so
So how are the games coded if people aren't necessarily code?
Generally, either you learn how to do it, or you team up with someone who kind of has an inkling on how to do it.
But
And,
it's not something like C++, right? Because you can't teach some of that in a session.
so generally no, but I did mine in Game Maker, which is kind of has its own coding script. I was helped my wife also programmed that as well. She was one of the people who learned that weekend. A lot of people do stuff in Unity, which is either JavaScript or C#, and you can. There's tons of tutorials out there on the internet where you can just learn how to play or to do Unity essentially. But there's tons of just tools out there for if you just want to make a game. Like Twine, you can make a really easy text-based adventure game with like zero programming experience. I mean, you're limited to like text-based stuff, but you can also like throw images on there. But it's fine. Like you can make a really cool game.
All right. Interesting.
Yeah, go Global Game Jam 16. If you Google it, you'll find that. And I was at the Orlando location.
All right. Is there a place where we can play your game?
Yes. LockyMurph, LOCKEMURPH itch.io.
Okay.
And you can play actually all of my games there.
Including Winnie the Pooh Home Run Derby?
Yes. Winnie the Pooh
all right.
home Run Derby, a game about running in home.
All right. That's cool. We'll check that out. Actually, speaking of EA, like apparently EA donated some games at the video game event, and they had like this raffle on. Like the raffle before that, I lost. This is completely irrelevant anyway, but I don't care. The Amazon had a raffle before that, and both raffles were like the number either before or after mine. So I'm like, crap, I missed out on a $5 gift card to Amazon, but I did win their trivia, which was nice. And then,
oh man.
So when the actual raffle came, they were like, all right, so we're gonna give away some of these new games. It's Madden, FIFA, Battlefront, Plants vs. Zombies, Garden Warfare. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. Let's see. And like I'm getting ready and everything, and all of a sudden, like I'm the first one that gets called, so I'm just like running across the room, going, woo! And like literally holding that note like the entire way over there. And I was like, all right, so it's all PS4 and Xbox One, which I have neither of those except for one PC game, and that game was Sims 4, and I said nope, and so I immediately just grabbed Battlefront for Xbox One. It's like, all right, roommate, since you've given me a bunch of Boise State stuff and pre-sequel, and I only got you 2 bags of Lifesaver gummies and a 24-pack of Dr. Pepper, here's at least a decent present now, finally. So, yeah,
nice.
All right, so
actually. Speaking of giving away games, did you guys hear about the Saints Row ISO that was released officially by THQ?
No.
Yeah, that was interesting.
No.
So it was an unfinished game, right, Murph? Or
yes.
It's a prototype.
Right. So I think they were trying to port Saints Row 2 to either the PSP or the Vita.
I heard it was a completely independent game.
I think that's where it was a prototype, so they didn't. Like that was like where they were trying to get to eventually, but so basically either it was an independent game or a Saints Row 2 port, but they were trying to get it on PSP or Vita. They just abandoned it because they're like, all right, this is never going to happen, and they just dropped the ISO on I think Mega 64 or something like that, or unfinished
on just some upload site. Wow. Okay.
Well, it's a specific site that's used for kind of allowing people to try unfinished games and kind of see why they didn't necessarily do it. The weird part though is you need a PSP emulator or you need a special software on your PSP in order to
hacked
PSP. Correct. So that's
apparently everyone has, but no.
Speak for yourself. I don't have one, but
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, all right.
So that's it.
Yeah, it is.
Saints Row Undercover is what it's called.
Like, I'm kind of surprised that they did that, but then again, like it's Saints Row, so they made the quote America gun and dubstep gun, so I wouldn't put it past them.
They seem like cool dudes.
Yeah, they do.
So I mean, not to derail here, but what games would you like to see other companies do this with? I mean, there's a lot of relatively high-profile games that were prototyped, and
StarCraft Ghost.
that was the first one that came
Ghost.
to my mind too. Peter Molyneux's BC came to mind too. I'd be interested in seeing.
Oh yeah, I remember
That's
that.
right. That was going to be
what
a game.
exactly that was.
I think there was a.
I like how Clegg was
a
so
League of
quick
Legends.
on StarCraft Ghost as well.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is one of the most well-known, unfinished, unreleased, canceled games, right? So,
the other one that came to mind is there is a game that I'm trying to remember who it was.
Beyond Good and Evil 2.
No, that still might happen. You never know.
That might. I mean, that's like I'm betting on Half-Life 3 coming out before that game. Like that's how much little faith
The
I
a
have.
Last Guardian.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't believe we didn't think of Half-Life 3 earlier. There you go.
Yeah. Was a Victorian era Batman game that came out just a little bit before.
Victorian era.
Yeah, and
Really?
it's supposed to be you were hunting Jack the Ripper.
Who's the Joker, I guess.
Yeah, or something, but it was very interesting looking, very unique. I don't know if that's actually. You might be able to already play that one. I'm not sure.
It's like a steampunky Batman.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it was. Very interesting. You can. I'm sure you can find. I think it was called Batman Gaslight. Was the name of the game. You'd have to check me. I'm not.
That
sure.
sounds about right because I think Gaslight Batman is the. If I remember from my Infinite Crisis information, Gaslight Batman is the steampunky Batman.
Okay, so yeah,
Interesting.
that's what I believe it was, but again, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Very interesting. All right, so in honor of Curtis's farewell, I'm gonna pose this question, and I think I have the number one answer. But what is the saddest farewell in video games, movies, and TV show history? What's that? Oh, and anime. Speaking of, I saw. Okay, I'll talk about my joke I saw in a second. If I go all in on either David Tennant's final episode of Doctor Who or Bye Bye Butterfree, do I have probably the top two answers?
Oh, wow.
Do I have the top two
I think
answers?
one of those is way sadder than the other one.
I don't know. That Butterfree.
That Butterfree episode.
That one was rough. As a kid, that one is incredibly rough because that's like the first Pokemon Ash catches, right?
Sure.
Yeah. What about? So may I posit one of the Angel variety? Season 5, I guess, when Fred dies.
Oh,
Am I the one here who
that
watched
was no.
I don't know this show.
Sorry. I thought you were talking about Angel as in not the character Angel. So it took me a second.
Oh, you're talking about the show
one's...
Angel, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. I never watched it.
No, Chris Angel.
I believe it.
I guess that one in my mind is slightly lessened because that thing kind of is hanging out for a while.
Right.
And that kind of deadens the blow in a way. Can we also talk about the obvious one with Wash from Serenity?
Yeah, that's too sudden though.
It wasn't really a farewell so much as an instant absence, right?
Have
He
you
was
guys
just gone?
Have you guys watched Full Metal Alchemist?
I was gonna say the ending of Full Metal Alchemist.
No,
That
granted,
was gonna
I
be
haven't
mine.
seen. I've never watched fully. I just know the Nina Tucker story.
One. Yeah, that one's pretty rough. That one is probably one of the worst ones. Another pretty bad one is
Spike
of course,
dying.
Yes, Spike dying in Cowboy Bebop, and the last things you see on the screen is "See you later, Space Cowboy."
No,
and
it's
the
someone.
show
No,
just
it's no. In the final episode, it's someone's got to carry that weight, and it's the only time they ever changed that.
Yeah, and it's just that one. That one was pretty rough. Gosh,
Isn't it funny how a lot of anime seem to be high up on this list just because they tend to be very emotion-driven?
Can we go with
shows.
Death as well?
In
Death
Note
Although I think everything after that is not as good. I think Elle's death was pretty.
was pretty traumatic. Sure.
I saw a
would still give it
picture,
to
by the
watching
way.
Death Note.
It said,
I'd still give
Oh
it full
come on, Murph!
Death
I know
Note.
you're a hipster anime watcher, but
No, come on, guys. That show's not good.
Oh,
Like,
come on, yeah.
Oh, you're crazy. It's very good.
I think
Oh.
that show is actually pretty decent.
Man, all right.
I would argue a point there.
Oh,
That it is.
I think it's more than decent.
I want to pause for
I
a
think it has some
second.
problems.
Oh, and I saw a
Go
photo
ahead.
of it was like one of those little like things that like you pull down the handle and it says like the cow goes moo, the cat goes meow, the dog goes Edward.
Oh God.
Okay.
Can we go with also what the Green Mile?
Ooh,
Where that what is his name? I can't remember the
Michael
guy's
Clark
name.
Duncan?
Yes. What is his character?
I forget his character's name. I
John
was gonna
Coffey.
say.
John Coffey.
I was gonna say for movies, like, could we say that probably number 3 is Paul Walker at the end of?
Only because I question what you already have number 1 and 2 in mind.
Yes,
Wait,
For
Paul
movies?
Walker. Are we talking? Wait, Paul Walker in the end of what?
at the end of Furious
Fast and
7.
Furious, right? It's 7.
Oh, all right. There. Okay, guys.
Like, is that?
Okay,
Could we
bros.
say that that's a solid 3?
It is sad.
No,
it
what
is
are you
pretty
talking
sad.
about?
Have you seen that movie?
No.
Then there, you can't
There's
say
no way that has
anything.
There's no way that I know for a fact that there's no way that Fast and Furious 7 has any emotional depth. There's a car that flips other cars, guys. Come on.
Wait, isn't that 6?
That might be 6.
Sure. Does it matter?
Yes,
A little.
because the emotional toll.
It.
What are you? Oh my God! Really?
Okay.
Murph, give us a better one.
Give
though.
us number
a
3.
better
Give us
example.
number 3.
The entire history of cinema.
Murph Murphy, everyone.
I'm trying to think of what other sad. I can't think of anything.
Josh
Off
Hartnett
the
at the
top
end
of
of
my
Pearl Harbor. No one?
Jack and Titanic.
No.
I mean, honestly, oh boy.
I do have a solid 1 and 2, though, correct? Like, those are probably, like, the two most emotional, inflicting ones in Doctor Who
I
and...
disagree with the Butterfree one, but the Doctor Who one, yeah, that one's pretty gut wrenching.
I'm trying.
That one specifically, because I could also see that the actor didn't want to stop playing the role,
No, he didn't.
right?
No, I think he really did
Paul
want to
Walker?
stop working.
Yeah, Paul Walker.
Paul-
No, talking Doctor Who.
All right.
I got another one for you guys. The Mist.
I
Oh,
hated
oh,
that
That's
ending.
when the characters.
That wasn't like...
that
I wasn't
ending is
sad,
pretty
I was just more angry.
That's an
Yeah, I
angry
was-
ending, but it's laced with a heavy dose of
Oh,
sadness
okay.
as
No, I
well,
got
right?
I got
'Cause
one. A
You're
solid...
sad that he ruined it 2 minutes before it turned out okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The end of Dark Knight Rises, where Alfred is saying, "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry," and he's crying. Like, I think
Oh,
that
yeah,
that's
that
the
was-
reason why it's sad, because my cocaine sells it.
Michael Caine is a really
And I did
that
say
was-
my
that was- I
cocaine.
agree with you.
Yeah,
Is Michael
I've-
Caine was kind of the soul of those movies in a
Yeah.
lot of ways.
Mhm.
Okay.
I'm not gonna let you.
Sorry, guys. I'm gonna be a little contrarian here.
Oh, I'm
That-
sorry.
that's fine.
I'm emotionless
Oh,
Murph.
you-
I only know the feelings of cynical and
I'm not
hipster.
saying, look, okay.
You're fine. You're fine.
I'm just saying, it takes a little more than Dark Knight Rises and Fast and Furious 7.
Okay, let's think of.
I'm not saying like, oh, I'm such a badass. I've never cried at a movie. Like,
Last movie
think
you
something
cried in.
TV here.
Like, let's be honest. Last
You-
movie you
Last-
cried in.
last movie I cried in, Mad Max Fury. No,
because it was so beautiful.
it's so. Oh, witness me.
The first guy jumped off the thing. Oh God, that's so beautiful.
That's my life.
God, let me. I think honestly, like last year was really bad for me in movies. Like I just didn't see. I saw like 3.
Yeah.
What about the last general that you just?
I'm honestly trying to remember. Give me half a minute.
Okay.
I will come up with something just to prove that I am not a heartless bastard.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say soulless, but that works too.
What about TV here? Because we have a lot. We got Doctor Who.
We got Doctor Who, we got Pokemon.
A lot of other.
Like, Matt Smith's ending
A
was
lot of
sad
other
as well, but it wasn't like as emotionally inflicting as it was with David Tennant.
I'm trying to think of characters that like died in TV shows.
There's always Walking Dead in Game of Thrones. I've never watched any of them, but I know that they have a lot of characters that died.
Yeah, but I always felt those characters. I'm going to be mean here.
You're not
Died
gonna-
unceremoniously, with the exception of maybe Dale from season 2, being one of the first major party members to get.
Major part. See, that's the problem. The way you're talking about Walking Dead, you just used a video game term there.
Yeah, I know, but like that's kind of how it is.
All right, that's what
You
I
know,
like.
and that's-
Yeah.
That
How
takes,
about Ned Stark from Game of Thrones?
The
See, it
problem
was
is
Sean
I
Bean,
knew-
so we automatically knew he was going to die.
It's true. We knew it was coming, both because you
Like,
read
the fact
book,
that he
Mark,
has
and
his
Sean
own
Bean
TV show
influence.
right now, like, I'm waiting for the episode that he actually just dies halfway through the season, and it's actually somebody else.
I've talked about this before, but they had a great Funny or Die episode where it was him talking to the directors about like when he was going to die. And he's like, "Oh, so I'm going to type in this computer and acid's going to shoot out of it, and I'm going to die, right?"
Right?
And then he's like,
That's my
no,
thing.
you're just going to type in the computer." He's like, "Okay, I'm not really feeling this. Maybe piranhas should fall from the ceiling and kill me." And he goes on, and then finally at the end they're like, "Okay, so we just heard from the producers, and piranhas are going to fall from the ceiling." It's like, finally, now we're getting somewhere, guys.
You guys understand my process.
I want to make a disaster movie, and it's like, I want there to be like one room, like where like this one building gets flooded, and just one random cameo of Sean Bean. They're like, "Oh, hey, it's Sean Bean. Hey, wave comes in, crushes Sean Bean." That's his only scene. It cost me $20,000 to do that, but you know
We'll
what?
probably do it too.
Tornado.
Like, that's
Apparently
why.
he's super proud of his death count.
It's like, what was it? It was Hatchet. Like, Hatchet had Robert Englund in it, and he was literally in it for like less than 5 minutes, and he dies in like the opening minute.
We could also talk about what is his name? Breaking Bad.
I never seen it.
Michael-
Don't, because I never
No,
seen
what
it.
is-
By
no, I'm not talking about the show. I'm talking about in Godzilla, where the actor, I can't think of his name right now.
Oh, Michael
That's
Cranston.
Oh,
Cranston.
okay.
Matthew
Cranston.
Broderick.
No.
No,
Cranston.
the new Cranston, whatever.
Bryan Cranston.
Bryan
Bryan
Cranston.
Dies in like the first 30 minutes of that movie, and then
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was
And he
thinking
was
like,
such a prominent part of the trailers. Everyone thought he was the main character.
yeah.
Yeah. That was kind of a bait and switch there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It really was.
I'm trying to think.
So that
of
was an unexpected farewell, is what that was.
Yeah. So
have
I'm
you
looking. Oh, okay. So
have you played
I'm
Tales from the
thinking-
Borderlands yet, Murph and Clegg?
I'm thinking Up here. Up is.
Oh
But
god.
I think Up is
Ooh.
not. It's kind of
Oh.
cheating.
Oh, that
Yeah, I
that
don't think
is
that
that's
is-
cheating.
oh,
That's oh
No, that's not cheating. That's a really sad opening to a movie.
gosh.
This is really sad. I only knew that woman for 5
So-
minutes, and I saw her entire life flash before
Really
my eyes.
quickly, I want to have an anecdote here because
Alright.
Clegg, Chase, and I worked in the same movie theater when
Yes, we
Up
did.
came out, and so we
Oh,
had to
that
watch
theme
that
song.
intro because we had to hand out the 3D glasses like every
Oh,
day,
man.
and it was awful. Like I would sit there and I'd be like, "Don't cry, don't cry," and after a while, I just got desensitized to it. But the first 4 or 5 times I watched, I was like,
I can still sing "Adventure Is Out There" like word for word. It's ridiculous.
Oh, my
I hear that
gosh.
thing so many times.
one
Working
time
for
the
theater.
audio cut out and the cleanup staff was singing the song.
Singing the song.
Yeah,
Man,
Up is cheating. That's
I think-
gosh. I think that might be if in terms of movies, that might be number one.
Yeah. Yeah.
mm.
I kind of want. I don't want to say. I think Birdman might have got me to sniffle in terms of just the last movie that did, but I don't think that's
I
that's
can't-
no Up.
Yeah,
That
it's
way.
no
Another
Up.
one for you guys. Fry's dog in Futurama.
Oh
Oh,
gosh,
That was a
yes.
sad episode,
Oh,
for sure.
that and the 7-leaf clover.
Yours, Murph. Yours wasn't just pure sadness like Up was. Yours is also laced with a bit of what the hell is happening in this movie. No, so there's a lot of confusion mixed in with sadness.
What about
Fry's
opening
dog.
to Guardians of
Gosh.
the Galaxy?
Oh yeah, that was pretty rough too. Opening
Yeah.
with his mom.
Oh,
dying of cancer.
yeah.
I don't
So-
think I've.
So anecdote, I thought this was like I didn't for some reason I thought that was a preview. So I was like, when is this movie gonna start? I thought like because this is a movie about like green aliens and
Uh-huh.
explosions, and then I'm like, oh, this is some kind of trailer for some kind of indie movie, right? Nope.
I got another one kind of in Marvel Universe when he's talking to Peggy Carter in Captain America 2.
Oh yeah.
And you realize that moment where she has no idea what's going on.
Mm.
That hurt. Like even though it didn't look quite right, so that kind of took me out of it. But that was kind of another moment where I guess feeling kind of bad about that whole shenanigans.
No, I
the
would say I was
opportunities
more
lost.
sad about I had a date at the end of Captain America.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was sad too.
That was sad too. Like I think that was probably I was more sad during that. So did we get your emotions up yet, audience?
Yeah.
Tell us what your saddest moment is in the comments below, or you could tweet me the hashtag tweet me at ChaseBunker with the hashtag thanks for making me cry.
So I think it's unanimous. We're gonna have to just attach balloons to Curtis.
Have him float
Oh,
away.
That's,
Have him float
that's
away.
terrifying. I'm terrified of heights. Don't do that to me.
I mean, look.
You gotta make sacrifices, Curtis.
So all right, so so you mentioned probably the best one with Up. Where does Up rank
I agree.
against David Tennant and Butterfree?
I would rank. Up is such a universally well-told story in about 5 minutes. Like you understand, like it's about 5 or 10 minutes, right? The intro part.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
it's
two
not
are
even-
definitely at the two ends of an extreme, right? As far as time investment, you need 5 minutes to understand the Up one. You need 5 seasons to understand the David Tennant one.
Yeah.
Right.
Correct. Yeah. I think I actually cried during the David Tennant one. I just felt really sad during the Up one. The hard part about the David Tennant one was he was such a mainstay, and he was probably my favorite Doctor as well. Like
Yeah.
I feel
He's
like he was the
almost
one
every
who brought
American's
me
favorite
Yeah.
Doctor.
I mean,
into the series. So I felt it was very difficult, and I still find it very difficult to get past his seasons of Doctor.
Yeah, and it's not
I
like Matt
stopped
Smith and
watching him,
Capaldi
that's
are bad. It's just
No,
David
no,
Tennant's
it's
just so
No,
good.
really good. Really good. I really like Matt Smith. I like Matt Smith just as much as David Tennant, actually.
Really?
Really?
I think.
Wait till season
Yeah,
7.
Peter Capaldi, not so much. Oh, I've seen all of them now except for the
okay.
most recent season.
Wow, you are impressive, sir. I stopped.
Mm.
But I think that David Tennant ranks higher for me personally, just because there's more payoff, because you had to invest so much time before, and subsequently you still think about him afterwards in comparison to the new Doctors, right? So I think there's a bit more substance there than just a 5-minute short that really hits you in the feels.
What do you think of Capaldi?
See,
Real quick.
You talking to me?
Yeah.
Peter Capaldi. He's very different. I thought Matt Smith and David Tennant were similar enough in their eccentricities that the
Good
transition
choice
wasn't
of
so crazy.
words.
Peter Capaldi was a big change.
Yes.
The age difference is extreme. His attitude is much more objective and coarse. I like him. I'm not sure he's really gotten a great storyline yet.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen the most recent season, but I've seen the previous one or two. I forget how many he's in now.
The most recent season has done significantly better from some of my friends. But
Well, that's
Okay.
good. It's not on Netflix now. Actually, none of it's on Netflix.
Yeah,
it's gone
as of
It's all on
yesterday.
Netflix.
I finished it just in time.
Good
Good.
for you. Good on you.
So-
For
Good
finishing
for
it.
you.
Yeah. So I'll see the most recent season, but at the point I'm at yet, I think he's just not being utilized. Maybe as well as the others have been. He's a great actor. I like Capaldi, but the storyline just hasn't grabbed me yet for his
Okay.
character.
Murph, what were you about to say?
oh, nothing.
All right, cool.
Nothing. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm on BuzzFeed and I'm looking at the
Saddest.
saddest ever.
He's trying to prove to us
Oh,
I have
oh,
emotions,
oh.
guys.
Yeah.
I
well,
Is it-
Do I have to?
Are you gonna pull the line?
my voice quivered. I was just thinking about the How I Met Your Mother episode
Oh my!
with the countdown.
Are you talking about with the father?
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen that. That was, oh man, where
Yeah, that one. That was so out of left field that it really kind of took a moment to steady yourself after that one.
that, especially
I
like
remember the
when you
first
feel
time-
like the butt dial. It's like, oh no, it's just a butt dial.
Yeah.
And then,
well,
oh
Lion King,
man,
maybe Lion.
I
Oh
didn't
my
cry
God,
during
yeah,
Lion
also
King.
That was
It was
because
sad.
there was the evil Scar, and yeah, that was. But Scar's so cool.
Yeah, I mean,
Long
such an
live,
iron.
mind you, that was probably the
Cool.
best killing line ever. Like, let's be honest. Like, long live the king, and
like,
he shoves him. Like, that's the best line
Yeah,
ever.
I think it would be sad, but Scar is just like, fuck yeah, I'm Scar.
You said it once. Not gonna edit. Now, I also thought Tron Legacy towards the end.
What is wrong with you?
I thought
Who's
I
broken?
didn't cry. I was just saddened by it, where he just like, where Clue's
Okay.
like, why? It's like,
It's
he's my son, and then there goes the
it
grid.
contains element of human emotion.
Yeah.
But man,
I kind of have I want to say Boromir, but I know that one's not very sad either because you never really.
also
I
he is fighting some orcs like a badass.
Yeah,
Yes,
like, he
I
goes
think
out
his
swinging.
badassery makes it much more palpable.
Finnegan during the
he
Hunger
takes,
Games.
like 9-10 arrows before he goes down, something
That's
insane
3.
like that.
3 really big arrows.
Big arrows. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, he's definitely playing D&D.
Finnick during the Hunger Games. That's all.
I
You've
don't
seen
know
that
what
That's
meme,
all I can
right?
say.
Where it would say, all right, the hobbits are being attacked by orcs. What do? I go in with swords drawn to rescue them.
What?
You see a nat 1 on
He's
the
just like,
dice,
face down.
and then you see Boromir lying down.
I love those. I love those so much.
Gosh.
Gosh.
By the way, for
How
those
about
who are
something
watching
happy
on
now, Chase?
for those who are watching on Twitch right now, I have the title Farewells and Stairwells. Like they're probably waiting. Like, where's the stair part coming in? It's like, there's none. There's none. I'm just gonna name the episode that. It's like, that's clever. Whatever. Deal with it.
What you mean? Some moments of pure elation, I guess is the correct.
Well, if we're still going, I was going to suggest, what's the next thing? We can keep going on our emotional spree.
Yeah. I mean,
Are we just gonna go through like the entire emotional spectrum? Like, what pissed us off the most? The Mist. The ending. There you go.
That's probably pretty good.
Yeah.
All of Contact. That movie was shit.
oh, happiness, Troll 2, all of it.
Yeah, Troll 2 is funny though, at least.
I watched
Contact
The
is
Room
funny.
again.
That's why
I
said
watched-
happiness.
Oh, Happiness. All right.
I watched The Room,
Go ahead.
the riff tracks of The Room with my girlfriend.
Oh.
Gosh, that is just so hysterical. Like, to the point where we said, like, I thought of this, like, if this relationship works out and we have a kid, I would be tempted to name my son Mark, just that every time I come home, I just go, oh, hi, Mark. And he would never know the whole reason behind it until he turns 18. It's like, son, you want to know how you got your name? Because I wanted happiness, and I got it with this.
So I can say my moment of awe. So we're going emotional spectrum here.
Okay.
Mhm.
Would be the first time Neo dodges bullets in The
Oh
Matrix.
gosh.
It was probably that moment where I just was like, my jaw just hit the ground. Because he was doing all this really cool stuff, and then all of a sudden he's dodging bullets. Okay.
As much as that movie has not aged well, and especially because of the sequels, like the first Matrix is still pretty cool.
Really
Yeah.
good. Yeah, absolutely.
I would
Absolutely.
say,
That's when
and
they
I mean,
became more practical, though.
yeah,
Yeah.
in a different
And as much as
form
it is
of
a
awe.
product of the 90s.
In a different form of
Go
awe,
ahead, Chase.
I would say, because it's the one thing that sticks out with me, was the scene in Watchmen where Ozymandias is telling the plan, and he goes, what, do you think I'm just some comic book villain? I did this 30 minutes ago. And that was my, like, oh! And I'm just like, it's like, that is
Oh.
brilliant!
This is a really good line.
It is!
That is a movie. That is a movie with some really good moments mixed with some really awful moments.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, besides, like, minus the big blue penis, like, that's a good, like, it was still just like, whoo!
So, really, just the whole Hallelujah sequence is
Was
just
awful.
yeah. That's what are you doing?
Well, I remember
Who
the
thought
joke.
that was a good idea?
I remember the joke when we all watched this at the theater, and everyone said that I should lose my virginity to that song, just to try to quote recreate that moment, flamethrower and all.
God.
Oh, my girlfriend at the time hated Hallelujah. It's like she liked the Jeff Buckley song, but she hated any form of like deeper tone. So if I just went Hallelujah, and then like bam, hate,
Jesus.
like slapping and everything. All right.
It wasn't even a good rendition of the song. That was the biggest problem.
No, that was the original version of the song.
Was it really?
I think that was the Leonard Cohen version.
Curtis
Like,
doesn't like the original version. Of the
No,
song,
it's
apparently.
poorly sung. Like, I guess it's like.
yeah, that's Leonard
Like,
Cohen.
okay.
Like, that's what. Like, that's his. He has that low sounding voice.
That's his thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great, no, but it's just not. No,
First,
there's better
we take
versions, I'm
Manhattan. Then we take Berlin. That was a good song. Anyways, well, we got 30 minutes left because I know we have a hard 8 o'clock shut off. So let's talk about Hearthstone because I have a feeling that's going to take another 29 minutes. So I have to rush the outro. All right. So, because good lord, we can only talk about sad stuff for so long.
No, I know.
It's super depressing.
Yeah. So Hearthstone made a bunch of big changes that included a standard and a wild mode. I believe maybe I read this wrong, that you can't even get certain cards after from Naxxramas anymore. Am I wrong with that, Clegg? Or Murph?
I didn't read that. What I read was that the standard mode is available to all players, but it is the new competitive mode, meaning you will have access in this mode to all cards from this year and last year. So there will be a rolling roster of cards. They will cycle some out. So in competitive play, you can't use Naxxramas cards, for example. I think that's the comparison you're making, because
Okay.
they came out more than a year or 2 years ago, right? So this, if you were to play on the last day of this year, you've got this year and last year's cards to work with. So you can't use Naxxramas cards in standard mode anymore.
So-
Wild mode is like the game is right now. You can put whatever you want in your deck and just play there.
So Chase, what you said is kind of true. When they roll this out, you will no longer be able to buy the Naxxramas Adventure. However, you will be able to craft those cards with dust.
No, that's stupid.
I didn't
why
know
would
they were
you...
taking it out of the store.
Yeah, why would
Really?
you take away Naxxramas?
Meaning you can't do the bosses anymore either.
Yeah, I know. It's so I'm going to quoting from battle.net. Adventures and expansions that are not part of the standard format will no longer be available for purchase from the shop. This year, that includes Naxxramas and Goblins vs. Gnomes. If you want any cards that you missed out on for wild play or just want to fill out your collection, you'll be able to craft them using arcane dust. Even cards from adventures that were previously uncraftable.
So wait, does that mean we
Interesting.
can't even buy Goblins and Gnomes packs anymore?
You will not be able to buy Goblin and Gnome packs.
What?
So
like-
if you had them in your collection,
They're not giving them away. Yeah, you
Right.
still have them.
you'll keep them and you can continue to craft them, I suppose. But the wild format is really going to be whatever you got, you can put in there. You can't supplement easily or as easily anymore. And
Right.
the whole point of adding this new standard mode and splitting it away from wild is so that the competitive scene stays fresh. They don't
Right.
want people continuing to use what's his name, Dr. Boom, 2
Right.
years from now, right? He is the king of the meta right now. They want to cycle through so you get fresh deck
And-
types, fresh strategies. Just
So-
make it more interesting.
So from what I'm seeing, they're taking a page from Magic the Gathering, which has its own kind of rotating. Like the biggest official tournaments are always the two latest most recently released block of cards, essentially.
Correct.
And there's also like Magic, they have this something called the core, which is basically the cards that it launched with. Those will always be in standard, if you will.
And
So-
that's exactly what they're doing here. You can
Right.
always use the two most recent years of cards plus the classic.
Right, classic.
Like,
So those
those
cards
are
that
always
they
available.
launched with, essentially.
Right, makes sense.
And so your collections will at least everyone always has a bunch of those cards. Like you just get a bunch of them already. So they're reasonable cards. They're not overpowered. They're not underpowered, but they will always be there. So there's always like value, I guess.
What do you guys think this does for the scene? I think it's great from both the developer and players' perspective. From the developers, it's impossible to balance 10,000 cards, which is eventually what they would have to do on the competitive
Right.
scene if they didn't restrict what players had access to. Right? You can't do that. And from the player's perspective, I don't want to go to the shop and see 20 different types of card packs to choose from. Right? Right now, there's three or four.
Three.
Right. Oh yeah.
That
there's
already feels like a lot to me.
Well, it's 3 or 4, and then you probably need all the cards from Naxxramas. You probably need all the ones from Iron, whatever.
BlackRock.
You need all the ones from the Adventure, whatever the Adventure
League of
expansion that they
Explorers.
put out.
Which is
So
fun.
serious about being competitive for sure.
If I could interject for a second, one of the things that kind of concerns me is you won't be able to buy those cards from the other one, but you can still craft them, right? I mean,
Yes.
Yes.
it's fine. But will some of them not be? You can't use them? Is that how that works? Or...
So there's ranked play, and then there's just like unranked play. So in ranked play, they're going to restrict which ones you can use. In unranked play,
everything goes.
everything goes. Anything
Gotcha.
goes.
So they have an equivalent of that in basically Magic, which is like you can use anything. I forget what it's called. It has E something.
So there's standard, which is whatever. Then there's like there's extended, which is a slightly larger group of cards. There's something called modern, which is an even larger group of cards. Then there's something called there's a legacy, which is everything,
Correct.
which is quite frankly insane.
Terrifying. Yeah.
Correct.
You have no idea what you're going to come up against.
Like, and then there's like casual play, right? There's just hey, I got these decks.
And from a viewer's perspective, I'm watching an esports tournament. It is way more engaging if I can see the two players. They kind of know what each other have in their deck. So they've strategized against that. Like, I know this is a mech mage, so I've built this deck to counter that. You will not get that sort of counterplay interaction if you have 20 decks to choose from and there are 30 different mage decks out there, right? You won't get that lineup. So
Well, actually,
narrowing it down really focuses the efforts, I think.
Actually, no. What you're actually going to see, and if Magic is any example, is you'll actually see a kind of a larger diversity of decks. And if they just kept everything open, there would only be 1 or 2 decks that are viable. Like, so there'll be a dominant deck, and then maybe a deck that can counter that deck. But in Magic, when you have the standard generally blocks. Generally, at the beginning, it's like completely open. Nobody knows what's good. But towards the end of the cycle of standard, things kind of filter down to like 4 or 5 really competitive decks.
Right.
So, but the thing is, there's always this. You're always in this kind of constant period, or eventually the next expansion comes out. So you're never too far away from that crazy time period where nobody knows what's going on.
So do you
and
think
from just that one OP card getting retired, right?
Right,
Because
exactly.
Eventually, it's just not in the roster.
Yeah,
anymore.
that was one thing that upset me because, like, if you remember, I had the online poll, what should I craft, because I had a Golden Millhouse Mana Storm, and that card just sucks. And I eventually got Dr. Boom, which I was either that or Alexstrasza, and the fact that now
Seriously,
Dr.
correct,
Boom
yes.
is now kind of is now incorrect. Like, now it's not, excuse me, not incorrect, it's now, like, being taken out, essentially. Because, Wild is
Right, but I
anything
think-
goes, right? Wild is, I
Yeah,
can
so
use
you can play your Dr. Boom forever.
Okay.
Right, but in the competitive scene, he will be out, and that's where their focus really is, because it's an esport now. It's one of the largest ones out there, so they need to make sure it's engaging and it's interesting.
And I've got a secret for all of you. We are
What?
never going to be able to play competitively at the esport level Hearthstone. Like, you're
Nope.
just not. You
No.
don't have enough time.
No, we don't have enough money. Like, the
You don't
amount
have
of money
enough
they...
time, you don't have enough money.
That was the thing that
It's
that surprised me. Like, when I watched, like, you sent me, I think, like 2 or 3 games, Clegg, and just the amount of golden cards that they have is astonishing. It's like, granted, like,
They spend hundreds, sometimes even thousands of dollars day one because they have to have the competitive edge. They need the card so they can start climbing the ladder to get the points they need to go to these tournaments to win more money. So you've got to invest from their perspective.
now,
Exactly.
if you are, let me ask you this: if you're Blizzard, do you have a sale for all Goblin and Gnome cards and Naxxramas?
If you're smart, you do.
If you're smart, you do, absolutely. Because it's really weird to me that they spent all this development time to make this really fun and funny adventure mode called Naxxramas with these interesting boss mechanics and funny dialogue. Like the what's his face?
Yeah,
that was a really funny character.
Yeah.
To cut all that content out is odd.
Yeah, I'm kind of I'm a little weirded out by that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll have to see.
Like, yeah, that's the thing that baffles me. Is like
get the cards, but that's gameplay that they're just removing.
Yeah, like I don't mind the fact that okay, you're taking away goblins and gnomes and you're gonna keep your core. Okay, like I was peeved about that, but it's like you're taking away an instance. Like that's like World of Warcraft literally just taking out Onyxia. Like, you know what? This raid is just done. This is never gonna come back. So you haven't beat it yet. Too bad. Like, I feel like that's like, I don't know why you would do that.
It looks like it might be some kind of a pressure because even if you've purchased the adventure, you can. So, speaking of adventures, if you've purchased at least the first wing of an adventure before it's cycled out, you'll be able to finish acquiring and playing the remaining wings. So maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just like hey, you better buy at least one of them in case you ever want to play this.
Yeah, that's
it's
very odd.
Strange.
Yeah, like I don't.
Yeah,
but
it really is. It would make more sense from a player perspective to just give out the content for free because it keeps your players engaged. Because someone who's never played the Naxxramas content all of a sudden has access to so many more cards. It makes me more interested in the game. And that's great. And you know what? If it's 2 years after that wing launched, the likelihood that a player who never bought it in the first place is going to suddenly decide to buy it is very, very low. So I feel like they're not losing much money there.
Or maybe, I mean, they have the statistics, right? They might look at their whatever and they said, okay, we only sold like 10 Naxxramases this week, guys. Like we can probably pull it out.
Right, or open it up for free because it's gameplay. That's hours of gameplay.
Yeah, so maybe it'll be
player.
Maybe it'll become, who knows, like the tavern brawl or whatever.
Or
that would be interesting.
Or this is probably maybe their theory. How do we increase sales? Let's say that we're getting rid of it and force people.
That would be a real dick move.
It is, but I mean, let's face it, it's also the same company that takes us 5 days to get a ticket resolved. So I wouldn't put it past them.
Better make it a tavern brawl. One boss, this week.
Like, I mean, again, like, they have much more stats than we do, obviously.
Correct.
So they know how many people are buying Naxxramas a week and what it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it's not like it's gameplay that I would go back and play, like, more than once ever. Right?
Yeah.
So it's not repeat content, but it's still odd that it's just being nixed. That's all.
Like, I still haven't finished Blackrock. I need to, and I'm not planning on buying Explorers just because.
Explorers is fun. I will.
It is, but
like
I'm not sure I want to play any more of it. Like that's the thing.
That makes sense. But I think of the 3 Explorers was probably the most fun just because of like the minecart was fun. Like they did things to kind of like change it up a bit.
Like the thing, like I'm sure I would have fun with it, but it is like $25.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Like, for $25, I can probably buy a full, like, game.
Darkest Dungeon. What?
Yeah, I could buy Darkest Dungeon.
Yeah,
you should.
Do I want to play League of Explorers
so
or do I want to play Darkest Dungeon?
Well, that's when I save up the gold until I get to like, and I'll buy the wings with gold until I get to like the last 2, which is then like $10. So then I just buy it.
Right. Well, that's the thing though. Like I'm not playing Hearthstone every day, so I don't have the whatever.
Understandable.
So,
speaking of games you can buy, I just beat Wolfenstein: The New Order last night. Whew, that's a good game. That was a good game.
So, that game has a better narrative than it has a right to.
Yeah, I was really surprised. Like for like a Wolfenstein game, which is normally just like mindless violence, like that was a good story. Ending, but.
Again, that is a better ending than that game deserves. As if you played the original Wolfenstein, like what?
Which you've played the original Wolfenstein. Okay, I guess this is kind of spoilers, but kind of not. When he says when he says the name Totenkopf, does that mean anything to the previous Wolfenstein.
Isn't that one of the guys who? Isn't that one of the guys who dies in the whatever?
Like he's Death's Head.
Super specific.
Oh, and
Death's Head's like, you need to call
I
me
don't
by my
remember.
real name, Totem Comp or whatever.
I forget.
Like I don't know if that was supposed to like actually mean
I
anything.
don't know.
It probably means something somewhere, but eh.
Yeah, but either way, it was a good game. I hated the Sopranos like ending, but it was still a good game. I mean, you can admit it was kind of Sopranos like, right?
I've never beaten it, so it's not a big deal.
All
I've
right.
never seen the end of Sopranos.
I haven't
so.
played it.
Okay. All right. And I've just started Mass Effect for the first time, so that's gonna be another 80 hours of gameplay.
Oh wow, really?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Stop after 2. You'll be happier.
No.
Yeah, that's
I
what my roommate was
do
saying.
agree. I
I
honestly
disagree. I think 2 ends in a perfectly logical way, and you just don't even need to finish.
I think that the ending of 3 is not good, but I do think that the middle of 3 is really good.
There is a point in time where you're going to get to the final battle, and I think the final battle is a huge waste of time and not even good.
I can't disagree, but I do think that there is enough gameplay in 3 that it is worth playing, especially now that it is $10.
Yeah, and if you can get some of the DLC, I guess it's worth it. 2 had some really solid DLC. I don't know if you got any of the DLC with
I
it.
don't
No,
know.
yeah, like I'm
I
saying, the
doubt
best
it,
in the
but-
series is 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
2,
yeah, like,
Okay.
2 is like you decide to go off the books kind of deal and do all the really bad stuff. At least that's how I played it.
Did you guys do
Two-
like
yeah, two-
which mode did you guys or what style did you play? Did you go Soldier,
I have
Vanguard,
played
Engineer?
I have played every style. In the first one, it is easiest to go Soldier.
That's what I've heard. I
I've
went
not played-
Vanguard just because I thought that sounded cool.
Yeah.
So
The second one, those classes mean something.
yeah.
And they actually start to... Every single build is a logical build. The first one, in my opinion, there was no logic build, except for... I mean, it worked pretty well. I think I played Vanguard first, too, Chase. It's, what is that, shotgun and sniper? Is that
it's
the...
shotgun and pistols, and then you get the biotic weapons or the biotic abilities.
Yeah,
So that's why I was
those-
like, okay, I can go mage if I
they're-
wanted to, or if I can go hunter if I wanted to. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are all good.
So
Yeah, it's weird. It's hard to like. I think in 2 they're all really good. I don't think there is a class that I say is bad.
No, in 2, 2 and 3, all the classes mean something.
Like the one I would say like don't play is probably the soldier, just because its special abilities is kind of weird. But then again, you get to use all of the guns.
yeah, that's the
So
thing. Is like, I wish I could play assault
strong.
rifle. Like I wish I could use it or use
Well,
it effectively.
If I could personally make a suggestion for 1, play through as a soldier. You're
Yeah.
gonna have a better time in 1 if you play through as a soldier, because they were kind of flirting with the idea of classes, and it kind of works, but it kind of doesn't. Like the spells are good, but they're not great. And at the end of the day, a shotgun to the face ends up working better than
Yeah.
than any of those super mage powers. In the second one, though, those mage powers become a little ridiculous, and some of them you can combine powers
Yeah.
together and stuff. The one
I
thing,
kind of
Go ahead.
I kind of want to say like Adept is a really good playthrough for
Yeah.
2.
the other thing I will tell you is 3 had voice support. I don't know if the PC version did. If it did work really well when I used it. I used to be able to yell at people and tell them to do things, and they would do them.
Like
I
SOCOM
don't
style?
know.
Oh, really? That's cool.
What was it?
Like SOCOM style.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I at one point I was like, Liara, move here, and she moved there, and I said, do blank. Liara, do blank, and she did that, and I did something at the same time, and it created a larger explosion. So
Nice.
like it really, for me, it worked out well, but that's when I was using my Kinect or whatever, and that's all I was using.
Oh yeah, see,
Okay.
I did it on PS3, so it didn't really
So I don't know if PC.
didn't really have that.
So
Yeah. All right.
Hmm.
All right, cool.
Anyways.
Well, that is it for today's show. Curtis, since you're the since you hate public speaking, do you want to do the outro?
yeah, sure. What do I need to say?
Facebook.com/that new
How
show
much-
show.
I'm sorry, what?
Facebook.com/that
How
new
about you
show
just do
show.
the outro and I'll do the last word. How about that?
Okay, we'll do that. Facebook.com/thatnewshowshow. You can follow me on Twitter at Chase Bunker. You can follow the show on Twitter at _that_game_show. Make sure you also check out our YouTube channel as well if you're listening on a podcast, or if you're watching us via Twitch, youtube.com/thatnewshowshow. We have a bunch of other videos that we're going to be doing, and also already have up. Check out Murph's Let's Play channel with his friend Mike, Mike's Mom Tomato, and you can follow him on Twitter at DorkNightShow. Other than that, Curtis, take it away.
All right. I just wanted to say thank you to the rest of the panel. You guys have been awesome, and I really appreciate it. Yeah, and thanks to Chase for putting this all together. It's been a real fun year. It's just one of those things that sometimes you can't.
Well, you
get
got
around
bigger
the
and
way
better
you feel
projects.
about things.
Well, you also have bigger and better projects to do anyway, so...
No, not bigger and better projects, just
bigger.
It's being recorded makes me uncomfortable.
Well, I wasn't gonna say, like, I wasn't that, like, I know that, like, that wasn't the reason why you're also leaving, because I know that you also got, like, schoolwork and everything, and, like, it's gonna be busy, it's gonna be hard for you. So, like, that's not the reason why you're leaving. You got other things going on.
I have other things going on, but at the same time, one of the main reasons is I don't feel terribly comfortable being recorded.
All
It's
right.
just one of those things that has always been a thing for me. I didn't realize it was a thing until very recently. And it makes me stutter, and it makes me do all sorts of other weird and funny and exciting things. But what I would just like to say
Funny and
is
exciting
you
things.
guys are awesome. These guys are just super cool. Keep watching them. They're going to be awesome for you guys.
We'll try.
And other than that, see you, Space Cowboy, I guess is the ending of that.
All right.
Aww.
So, gosh, this got sad all of a sudden. The real folk blues, Haun Tano. Kamashimi Gashiri Garirade.
It's been awesome.
Curtis, don't leave me with them.
So, for Curtis Coe, or for Daniel Clegg, Murph Murphy, and one last time for Curtis Coe, I'm Chase Bunker. Have a great rest of your week, and we will talk to you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.